here live at the White Elephant, 366 Queen Street East. And how's everybody doing? We've got everybody here, and I'm so excited. And doesn't this place look amazing? Yeah, today is October 29th, and just days before Halloween for those who celebrate Halloween. I remember those trick-or-treat days back when I was a little girl, and it's absolutely beautifully decorated in here. So a lot has been going on in the news, and let me ask you something. What time is it? Hot Topics! That's right, it's time for Hot Topics. And Hot Topics are things that people are talking about at the water cooler at work, you know, things that are at the tip of the tongue, things that are trending on social media. And I just discovered that Gordie Howe, hockey legend, just suffered a major heart attack. Sorry, a stroke. Yeah, that is really sad. So my heart goes out to the Howe family, and hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. So that was sad in the news. And 1 week ago, chaos erupted in Ottawa Parliament building when a reservist guarding the National War Memorial was shot and killed by a masked gunman. So that was Corporal Nathan Cirillo from Hamilton, 24 years old, was laid to rest yesterday, and he leaves behind family, a 5-year-old son as well. It was a single death. So that was really, really sad. And he actually dreamed of becoming a full-time soldier, but brave to the very end. So again, my condolences, my sympathies go out to his family and friends. He was a brave, brave man. Did you hear what was happening on Twitter with John Legend? You know, the singer, John Legend. His supermodel wife, Chrissy Teigen, 28 years old, she was met by huge backlash on Twitter when she voiced her opinion about the shooting in Ottawa. Do you want to know what she said? Yeah. Well, quote unquote, active shooting in Canada, or as we call it in America, Wednesday. Sorry you don't understand that it's a knock at America and our issues with gun control. No one is minimizing the Ottawa shooting. So basically what she's saying is that, well, it was one shooting, but we deal with shooting like rampantly, like every day kind of thing. And so apparently she was met by a whole bunch of death threats. And from that point, yeah, she upset a lot of people. So she is no longer on Twitter. She has left Twitter, and now you can follow her on Instagram for her insensitive rants. All right, so yeah, that was not a really good idea, but that happened about 2 days ago. So, Monday, how many people went out to vote? What happened? John Tory, he took the lead. He won the mayoral race, and then who took over Mississauga Mayor? Bonnie Crombie. She has replaced the legendary Hazel. And then the Ford brothers are still in politics, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And I actually heard today through the grapevine that Doug Ford may be leaning towards PC leadership. What do you think about that? Yeah. All right. Go Doug, go Doug. Well, you know what? We have a very special man who's actually, he was here in August, and he's back again to give us the post-mortem of the election results. We've got Huffington Post columnist and political activist Mitch Wolfe here. He's going to be talking to us. We've got some Ford Nation supporters. Thank you. I salute you. All right. And we also have Avatar Master Tia Greno. She's here from Buffalo to talk to us. And then we also have the author of A Walk in My Stilettos, Makini Smith. She's here. It's a night of authors. We have another author, A Betrayal of Trust, Barry Wright, not White, but Barry Wright. And we also have business owner Sean Matthew Frederick, who's going to be sharing his words of wisdom. Thank you so much for being here. And we also have the co-owners of Afro Length here in Keisha Stapleton and Marilyn Days Bond. So it's going to be a great show. You don't want to go anywhere. Come right back.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
All right, welcome back. Sitting with me now in the hot seat is, it is hot here, Huffington columnist Mitch Wolfe. Well, so tell me.
About the election.
About the election. How was your response when you heard the news? Because I know you're a big Rob Ford advocate.
And Doug Ford advocate, actually. The election, I thought, first of all, I love the whole 10 months. I'm a political junkie. I thought it was a really interesting election. And there's a lot of ups and downs. You know, Olivia Chow started off as a front runner, and then, you know, Ford was sort of close, and then he unfortunately had some problems. He left and rehab, and then Tory changed places. And actually, the results were much closer than a lot of people thought. Now, I thought it was going to be pretty close. And obviously, I hoped that Doug Ford would win. He did it. But he only lost by 6 points. I recall Tory won, I think it was by 40 points. Doug Ford was around 34, and Olivia Chow was around 23. And Tory won. I mean, he ran a good race, and, you know, the people are always right. It was really sort of a compromise candidate. He was a beneficiary of sort of an anti-Ford situation, plus an anti-Chow situation. And I'd like to maybe speak about Tory a little later, but you know, the most interesting thing was Chow. Like, so.
Did anyone think that she had a chance of winning? Makes a noise. We thought that
we have some Chow supporters there. Okay, you may not like what I have to say, but anyway, well, as you know, Olivia Chow's been around for you know, since the 80s. She's a very you know, had a high profile. She was a school trustee. She was a council person. She was an MP. Yeah, and wife of Jack Layton, and you know, widow of Jack Layton. I mean, they had, you know, TV biography together. And she was a front runner, and all the press, or certainly CBC, CTV, really, and Globe and Mail, the Star, really thought she was going to win. She was going to take down Ford. And I think, and everyone, you know, I had some doubts, because I knew she had a bit of baggage she was, you know, bringing along with her. So I guess the big surprise for me and a lot of people was the first debate. Now I'm a little contrarian. I purposely don't follow I read all the newspapers, but I always like looking at it a little differently. So I always thought that, you know, Chow was, yeah, a formidable candidate, but maybe she had some issues. Well, but I thought she would do well, and she had all this experience. I was actually shocked by her performance in the first debate. She was, you may disagree, and, you know, you're entitled to it, but I think she seemed unprepared, she was inarticulate, she was uninformed, unintelligent, and she didn't connect, you know, with the viewers.
Wow, tell us how you really feel.
You know, and the point is, none of the press, they were always like coddling her and protecting her and saying she's the greatest thing. But in fact, everyone was surprised that Rob Ford, who was like, everyone thought he's a buffoon and he's like inarticulate, he killed her in the debate. And even so did Tory. And I think that was sort of the beginning of the end for Olivia Chow. And I saw that she just, you know, didn't have it. I was surprised what a poor presentation she gave. And just 2 points. I mean, on the issues, and we talked about it last time I was here. Scarborough subway, critical. I know people here from Scarborough or from North York or Etobicoke, but the big issue in the suburbs is the subways. The downtown people, like, you know, they have 3 subways. The Scarberians wanted a subway. And I thought Olivia Chow, who prides herself on being, you know, concerned with the disadvantaged, the vulnerable, the hard-working class people, you know, downtown and uptown, would be in favor of a Scarborough subway because they need it the most. And I was shocked that she came out against the Scarborough subway, notwithstanding that, you know, the city council had voted for it. There was, Ontario government was in favor of it, Kathleen Wynne. The Harper government, Justin Trudeau was in favor of it. So they had all this support 3 levels, and she came out against it. I thought that was like, it showed a disrespect for the suburbanites. I think it lost her the election, that, and some other of her policies. And and it went downhill from there. I remember in April, all of a sudden Ford was equal with her. Then Ford had his problems, and he left, and then he went to rehab. And next thing you know, Tory, and it was Chow for 2 months. Next thing you know, Tory has replaced Chow, and Chow kept on fading. And I still thought at the end, which surprised me, I thought Chow would get up. She's a good organization, well respected, great ground game, as they say, getting out the vote, a lot of volunteers. I thought she'd be closer to 30, 32, close to Doug Ford, and Tory. She came in 23. If she had been close to 30, then it would have been a really close race because Ford only lost by 6 points. Okay. So I know it's disappointing to some Chow people here, but I was just shocked by her poor performance. On the other hand, and you may not appreciate this, I think everyone thought, oh, Doug Ford, he's a bully, he's this, he's adversarial. He actually ran a very good campaign. In 6 weeks, he surprised a lot of people. He was single-minded, he debated well, he was on message, and he didn't have the experience that Chow had because she was there for 30 years, and he beat her in the debates. And he beat her in the end. And which brings us to the last point, Ford Nation. Everyone thought, well, Ford Nation is aligned with Rob Ford, and when he's out of the picture, unfortunately, they were going to, head home, not going to vote. Doug Ford just didn't have that same personal connection. That's wrong. They transferred their, support for Rob to Doug, and I think he increased the support. I think as the weeks went on, he was cutting into Tory support. And everyone said, oh, he's 14, 10 points. So I thought it was closer. I thought it was 3, 4, 6. I thought he had a chance. A week or two, he may even have taken him. But so I thought it was a great campaign by Ford. I thought Tory deserves to win. I mean, he had a good campaign. He lost 5 times before. He didn't make any terrible errors. I thought he was a compromise guy. No, it didn't engender the same passion that the Ford people, and I thought a lot more Chow people would go out to vote for her because there's a lot of passion for the progressive wing, if you call it, the socialist wing.
So now that Mr. Tory is, the lead, he's in office, what's going to happen? What's the forecast for Tory
Nation? That's really Tory Nation. That's very interesting. Well, Tory has come in saying he's a likable guy. He wants to unify.
He seems normal. Like he doesn't have all those.
Yeah, he doesn't have the personal issues that Rob Ford has. No question. But that's fine, and he wants to, get away from the circus, and he wants to be civil, and let's all get together as one city. That's fine. I think the fear that I have, and maybe other people, is, will he be effective or ineffectual? To be effective, you got to be single-minded, you got to be stubborn, and I think the key thing will be the Scarborough subway, as I said. He has to deliver on that. That was one of the things that he supported as well as his smart track. And if he doesn't deliver on the Scarborough subway and maybe like bows to those who are against the left, if you will, who are not in favor, still want to have an LRT or a bus, if he bows to that, then I think he will not unify the suburbs. He'll lose the suburbs. Another big issue he would, as the Ford issue, was privatization of garbage services. If he bows to that, because that was a big deal, he said we save a lot of money and we should do that. So if he sort of bows to this, he sort of wants to get along, Mr. Likeable, he could be very ineffectual. So I think he has to start, he has a mandate, he did win significantly, and he has to start quick and pass some stuff, pass his agenda. If he doesn't, I think, there won't be a Tory nation, right? I think he'll be in trouble in 4 years. That's what I'm saying.
We could go on. I know how passionate
I'm very passionate about this.
And we could keep talking, but I'm really thankful for you being here and giving us, the autopsy, as it will.
Well, I'm thrilled once again to be here. I should actually put in a plug for you. Actually, I know it's a bit of an anti-Chow thing. Frankly, you would have been a better candidate. I think that, first of all, you're. First of all, I mean, she's quick on her feet. She's warm. She's funny. She's smart. She's intelligent. Right? Like people would vote for you, would like you. No, I think, and frankly, that's someone who Chow should have been like. But like you would exemplify all these good qualities of a great woman candidate or male candidate for that.
Thank you so much. In 4 years?
4 years. Well, I actually want to. I write a lot, not only for Huffington Post, but another Canada Free Press, which is a small online journal, more conservative, but they're very diverse. So I write a lot there. You can find me on Twitter, mwolfe @mwolfe9216. You could Facebook me, and I occasionally write for Huffington Post and iPolitics. And you know, and recently I've been on Sun TV. It's the right wing, but Sun News Network. You know, talking about stuff. So you can find me on that as an occasional commentator. So it's all good. Having a good time.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be right back with some more guests. So welcome Greno to the stage. Got your breath back?
Yeah. Yeah.
For those who didn't see out there, she was threw down on the dance floor. I had no idea she could move like that. We got to go out dancing one night. But we met not too long ago at Celebration of Women's Peace Conference, and I was very happy to connect with you because I was asked to speak about forgiveness, and that tied in very, very well with what you're doing. You are an avatar master, and I did a little research about the word avatar, and it's connected with Hinduism and also Sikhism, and believe it is the deliberate descent of a deity to earth. So it's the connection with heaven and earth. And some of the better known avatars, maybe Muhammad, Jesus, were avatars. What is an avatar master?
Well, an avatar master delivers the course. An avatar is really, it's a path to a higher level of existence, just like you're talking about. And of course, I mean, I'm not there yet, none of us are really get there, in this lifetime, but to live your life, to be able to live your life on that path is what Avatar is all about.
So it's connecting with a higher consciousness.
Yes, definitely, and and opening your awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So an Avatar master teaches the exercises that enable people to live a higher mode of existence, in your everyday life.
Right. What was it in your personal journey that made you want to become an avatar master? You don't wake up and say, no, I want to be an avatar master.
Yeah, right. I had no idea what it is.
It happens over time because I'm sure you had a life before doing this. So
yeah.
When did that happen for you?
Well, I had done a lot of self-development work. I had a career, I was married, I had children, and when I hit some difficulties, after years of therapy, I thought, somebody said, there's some great self-development work out there, do a course. So I started doing a course actually here in Toronto, and 15 years later, I'm still doing, I was still doing some courses, and someone talked to me about Avatar, and I thought, well, it's in Florida, I might meet some people, and I decided to go. And
you're originally from Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm from Buffalo. Yeah. So I went to the course, and it was an awesome course. I loved it. But what really nailed it for me was that one of my best friends said, I don't know what happened to you, but whatever happened to you, I want to do that. So she came to the course.
What's your best friend's name?
Adrian. Yeah. So she came to the course, and at the time she was hitting some difficulty. She had been through a divorce, and hitting the age of, I won't say what age, but we're getting older, and her career was getting a little flat. She was a financial person, and Avatar actually looks at the beliefs that you have that are running your life. So when she did the introduction of belief management, she hit this belief that she was old and broken. She needed hip replacement. So you can imagine if you're a financial advisor, if what's running you is that I feel old and broken, you're not going to be picking up new clients.
Physically broken because of the hip, and also maybe mentally, emotionally broken.
Exactly. Yeah. From being having been married for many years, getting divorced, going into old age. Going into old age, I hate to say it, but I mean it's true. So anyway, she said, okay, we're going to go to Avatar. So I took her through the course, and day 1, day 2, it's a 9-day course. Day 3, day 4, day 5. By the end of the course, this woman was unrecognizable. I mean, she was dancing. She was so lit up. Her whole face changed. We called it the Avatar facelift. Now, if that doesn't sell you, I mean, it was just incredible. And when I saw that, it just moved me very deeply. And now, by the way, she's got a new boyfriend. She got the hip replaced. She's she rides a bicycle.
So 9 days her life transformed.
Her life completely transformed, and I was really taken by that because I think we have a very deep ingrained pattern to want to help people. We want to alleviate a little suffering in the world. And when I saw that, I thought, my social work career, other careers that I had, I really said, this is what I want to do. Yeah.
You did something with the group when we met at the conference, and I'd like for us to do a little exercise now. It's called a compassion.
Yes, it's called a compassion exercise.
Would you like to do this with us? Really simple, and it's just a repetition of some verses. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Get a little compassion in the room.
So this exercise can be done anywhere that people congregate: airports, malls, parks, beaches. It should be done on strangers unobtrusively from a distance, and we'll do all 5 steps on the same person. Expected results are a personal sense of peace. So I would like you to choose someone, either in the room or someone in your life, to direct your attention to. And I'll repeat this, and then you repeat it to yourself. Step 1. With attention on the person, repeat to yourself. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life.
Just like me, this person is seeking happiness for his life.
With attention on the person, repeat to yourself. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his life.
Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering.
With attention on the person, repeat to yourself. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair.
Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair.
With attention on the person, repeat to yourself. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs.
Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs.
With attention on the person, repeat to yourself. Just like me, this person is learning about life.
Just like me, this person is learning about life.
And this can be done by couples and family members to increase understanding of each other. It can be done on old enemies and antagonists still present in your memories, and on all other life forms. It is one of the 33 exercises that can be found in Resurfacing Techniques for Exploring Consciousness by Harry Palmer.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that. As a special treat for you,
everybody will get a compassion
everyone will get a compassion card.
This really does create miracles in your life. It really does.
I had an exercise that you did with me on forgiveness, and I really felt a change. There was I want to say I was lighter after the exercise. And it's really amazing how a thought can really hold you down and burden you for many years. And when you focus on it, as you got me to focus on it, I realized how really silly it was to just hang on to this grudge. I just had to let it go, release, and just be happy.
And you free attention, and with all that free attention, you're freer to create what you want.
Absolutely, and you're freer to live deliberately, and that's what you do in Avatar. Now, where can people find you?
People can find me. I have got, you can go to theavatarforce.com, and my personal email is on the card, and my telephone number, 716-633-0715. 633-0715.
Yeah, you can call Tia anytime.
I want you to call me because really, feel free to call me anytime. I am happy to talk to you about what's going on in your life and if Avatar will work for you.
Okay. And you're heading off to Florida next week, right?
Yeah.
For 9 days.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Florida, and you're all invited to come to the course. And you don't have to be on time. You could be a day late. But and also we do resurfacing the first 2 days. We do them in Toronto and Buffalo all the time. We're always, and the forgiveness option that I did with you and the belief management, I'm free to do them. Those are free. I'm happy to do them with you, and I'd love to talk to you.
That'd be great. All right, we get an Avatar facelift.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
Welcome back. Sitting beside me is the author of A Walk in My Stilettos. Please welcome Makini Smith. You look lovely.
Thank you.
You always do. You always look coordinated.
I try.
I appreciate that. So you are a woman who wears many hats. You are a mother of 3 lovely children. You have some representation here of your team. You are also a realtor. You're a motivational speaker. And now you are about to launch a new book.
Yeah.
First book.
Very first.
A Walk in My Stilettos. What's that like? How do you feel about you're about to embrace on something new?
I embrace change. I'm not afraid of change. People who know me, my hair is never the same. I probably never wear the same things too often. So I'm excited about the book. It's a journey. Well, it's about my journey and the life lessons that I learned along the way. I find that people feel more comfortable when they hear stories of other people that have been through certain experiences similar to them. Right. Kind of like a social thing. So they feel more comfortable in accepting their stories, and I've kind of pretty much been transparent about my journey and the things that I've been through. Being a teenage mom, going through divorce, dealing with betrayal, starting a new career, single motherhood, you name it.
Yeah, so a little bit of elements maybe in all of our experiences. There's one way or the other we can connect back to you. So, I mean, as the adage goes, take a walk in my shoes kind of thing. So you upped it to the stilettos. So I know you've got you love shoes, girl.
I love shoes.
I've seen your Facebook posts. It's like, want. And there's a picture of like the latest pump. So I totally can relate to that. But what are some of the things that we can learn about walking in your stilettos?
I find that a lot of people tend to make a lot of excuses for the situations, and as much as I've been through adversities, I don't make excuses. I don't have pity parties. I don't expect people to feel sorry for me for the things that I've been through. I kind of try and find the positive in everything. Find the lesson. If something negative happens, you find the lesson that's meant to be learned from that.
So pushing past the pain and just remaining positive through everything.
Exactly.
What were some of the lessons that you learned as a teen mom? I mean, how old were you when you first had your child?
I was 17.
17.
Yeah.
And that changed your world upside down?
Completely. I had to grow up quick fast. It forced me to be responsible. I'm responsible for another human being. It's not just myself. So I learned to be less selfish. from a young age, being responsible, providing for another person, taking care of another person's needs other than my own.
And then you got married soon after, or?
I got married at 25.
Still young.
Still young, yep. When I got married, my husband at the time had children previous, so at started at 23, I was taking care of 7 kids.
How many?
7.
Okay, so 7 kids. And how old were the children? It's like, you know, it sounds like one of those Sound of Music kids.
It was a lot to deal with. It took some adjusting, but like I said, he had 4 previous, and I had 2, and then we had 1 together. So it was a lot.
It was a lot. How did you balance that and become a career woman, a realtor?
I didn't have to balance the 7 kids and being a realtor. I actually worked on my real estate license during my divorce.
During your divorce. Okay.
So my plate's always full.
What's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
You're an Aries. Oh, that's why. Any Aries out there? Strong-willed.
Very strong.
You speak about betrayal, and I think everyone has learned a lesson in betrayal, either receiving it or maybe even being a part of, betraying someone. That's just part of who we are. We're all human. We make mistakes. How did that transform you into the powerhouse that you are? You're a strong woman. The betrayal did not break you.
It bruised me, but it didn't break me.
I like that. Bruised, but not broken.
You have to find the positive in everything, honestly. Everything happens for a reason. Sometimes it's a lesson that we're supposed to learn, and it makes us stronger people.
So this book is how long? How many pages?
It's roughly 150 pages.
And how long did it take you to publish?
Originally, it took me about 3 months to write, and
that's not long.
It's not long, but I spent a lot of time. I kind of put everything else to the side and focused on the book. My poor kids, I was probably cooking dinner, writing at the same time, putting them to bed, writing at the same time.
Yeah, the daughter's nodding like, yeah, they did put us through a lot.
Yeah. So
the payoff is big.
Exactly. It took 3 months, but then I had to fire the original publisher, lessons learned, and found a publisher that worked more with what the book, with my vision. So I had to revise the book, so that took another little while. So technically the book was supposed to be out now, but it'll be out by Christmas.
So what is your goal with writing a book? I mean, I know it's a release for you, it's a healing, but what can people receive when they read your book? And I can't wait to get my own signed copy, by the way.
For sure, definitely. I guess I've spent a lot of time sharing my story with people. I do women's groups and things like that, and people are always like, well, wow, you should write a book. So I basically just put all my stories together, put it in a book, and hoping to help inspire other women. I mean, aside from the things that I've been through, I mean, I have fibromyalgia, which is like a muscle disability. I have all of these things, but I don't use them as excuses to prevent me from striving for my goals.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there you go. You have no idea.
Okay. And when is the book going to be out? When can we get a copy?
It'll be out by Christmas.
By Christmas. All right, that's exciting. That's just around the corner. That's just around the corner. I'm going to get my list ready. And then where is it available?
So we're going to start with the pre-release online. The site's not up yet, but it'll be walkinmystilettos.com.
All right, I'm excited, and I'm really proud of you. I know it's quite an achievement to put a book together, so congratulations on that. And thank you for spending some time here and telling us a little bit about your book. Thank you. And we have to do a follow-up.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I'll be right back.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
Hey, we are back with the author of Betrayal of Trust. Barry Wright here. I have to say this, when we started our email correspondence, I, for some reason, addressed you as Barry White.
I like the singing, but I'm very much alive. So I sent that back, I believe, in a note.
Oh, that was wrong. But thank you for, being so flexible with me and understanding. So you were a school teacher. We have that connection.
Yes.
And what grades did you teach?
Well, when I went into teaching, I taught grades 7 and 8 initially. But I was allowed at that time when I went in to teach fully mathematics, because my degree was in mathematics. And so they allowed me to set up programming that did specifically that. It was a very action-oriented program that allowed kids to, rather than sitting in seats, it got them into working in groups, standing up, cutting, moving around, and doing various things. Then after I started there, I then moved on to high school, where I taught physics and mathematics. And then high school teaching is where I stayed for a good part of my career, except I'm one of these people who needs to try risks and put myself out there and do various things. So I stepped out of teaching for a while in order to put together a small business in real estate appraisal. But I didn't stay out of teaching very long, because I ended up getting back in working actually with adults in retraining programs with Seneca College. And then eventually I came back into the high school system again.
Well, I wish you were my math teacher.
Well,
I struggled. You know what I mean? I struggled in math because it was just so, I guess it has a lot to do with the math teacher.
A lot of people have,
I have a phobia with numbers.
I've heard this so often with people, and often I think what's missing within math classrooms, as I see it, is that first of all, I think a teacher has to accept how the student learns. And I think then they have to adjust their teaching to reflect that learning. And so often, certainly during the time that I was teaching mathematics, that wasn't the case. People came in with sort of a prearranged program, and they taught it one way, and if you didn't get it, too bad. I never approached things that way, and I still don't approach things that way, and I think that's why here we are now, quite a few years later, now writing novels as opposed to writing math textbooks, because I think I mentioned to you, I started off writing math textbooks, actually the first math textbook in Canada for Prentice Hall. It was called Masco. And so, and that was a 10-year wonderful experience. I think you'd have to ask my wife what she thought of that. Well, no, it was a series. A series that started with grades 7 and 8 and then moved into the high school. And then eventually what I ended up doing as I got more into the editing part as opposed to the writing. But Dr. Ridge, who was my professor at the University of Toronto, who invited me onto the team, he and I basically started off the first textbook together. And then we expanded a little more as we moved into the second, and then I sort of pulled away as we went on to the third and fourth.
Let's talk about your latest reading, Betrayal of Trust.
Yes.
All right, do you see that? See the cover? So there is a cigar, an ashtray, and a gun. Explain. I just got my copy tonight, so I haven't had a chance to read it. So what do you think?
Well, I guess in a nutshell, the best way to explain about the book in a short form way is that three friends come together to take down a corrupt CEO of a pharmaceutical company who has ties to the local drug cartel, only to find that what they think, there's a whole lot of other things going on behind the scenes. Basically, it's about getting shot at, living through emotional turmoil, and in a roller coaster ride of events that eventually exposes corruption at the highest levels within business and government. That's it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. And how long did it take you to? Yeah.
Oh, wow. What, I have a lot of false starts. the process of trying to get to the point where the book began to appear would have been about 7 years to 8 years. I took a course through Humber College at the time, and was so blessed to be connected up with Canadian author Sandra Purcell, who mentored me for that year. I learned a tremendous amount from her, but at the end, I still hadn't really quite got the idea of how to put together a novel, because it's a very difficult process to learn. And so after that, it was a lot of rewrites, learning how to put the pieces together, and finally, 7 years later, I guess a light went on. All of a sudden, the book started coming together, and there it was. Now, I do have to add one, I think, very important part to it, is that as I began working through that manuscript towards the end, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And if anything can change your life, that can change your life. And so I worked very hard to finish that manuscript prior to going in for the operation. And then when I came out, it was a slow process of recovery, and we thought everything was sort of moving along very nicely. And so I was getting ready to write the second novel. But the cancer sort of reoccurred again, and I had to go in for radiation a year ago this past summer. Now, at the end of the radiation, everything began to change. I'd gone up north to our property, did some work, and I guess whatever I did, I really hurt my back. But for a whole year, year and a half after that, I found it very difficult to sit. So what that did, because I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit there and accept just the pain, I've got to do other things. What it did is it then shifted my attention into short story writing. And it opened up a whole realm of areas, including writing poetry, a number of papers and various things, plus the recent series that I'm putting on my blog, which is dealing with the Chief Inspector Alexander Collier series. And that came out, that particular series, there's two parts so far that I've done. One part is Faithful Choices, the other part is the Angel Maker, which I'm working on now, which is out for public consumption. But what I've enjoyed about that is that that came about from a forensic science course I took online. I took this course, it opened up a whole realm of additional information. I then went back into the writing to look at it. I chose a period roughly 1938 to the early 40s in Britain, at Bournemouth to be exact. And that's how the stories all began. The reason why I chose it is because I'm interested in that area, and two, the forensics was at its earliest stages, and so it was kind of interesting to see how they would solve murders.
So before Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Well, Sherlock Holmes did come before that.
He did.
Yes, he did.
Well, I am very happy that you're here, and thank you so much for your book. And I want to let you know that you each get a copy of A Betrayal of Trust.
Thank you.
That also helps.
Oh, it helps us. I would say double thumbs up.
Double thumbs up?
Double thumbs
Two
up.
Facebook likes. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, we'll be back with some more. Don't go anywhere.
The website, if you're looking at all in terms of connecting, can be found at www.bbwrightauthor.com. You'll find everything there, my blog, my Facebook, Goodreads, Twitter account. The only thing you don't find there is my LinkedIn account, okay, because I'm in LinkedIn as well. So I'm quite broadly accessible through social media.
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience, or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
Thank you for tuning in, and we have the dynamic duo, the co-founders of Afro Lengths Hair Inc., Keisha Stapleton and Marilyn Davis-Bond. Welcome them to the show. I have to say, tell me about your partnership. When did you get together? And when did you start this business?
It's funny because Marilyn and myself, we knew each other for a very, very long time, since middle school. I'd say elementary. Elementary. I didn't remember her.
You go back.
Yes. Honestly, but she remembers. Yeah, and it's funny. We connected not too long ago. I would say about 10 years ago, and since then we've become best friends, and we've just been growing together pretty much. That's what pretty much took off from there.
So who initiated this business?
We've always talked about hair, always. It's always on our tongues. So we said, you know what, let's educate, let's bring our knowledge to the world. So.
Well, and you know what it was too? We were just frustrated with our own hair. It was very annoying. We struggled with maintenance, we struggled with products, we struggled with a lot of different things, and I guess through that frustration, we were kind of just like, you know what, let's just do something. So we got in the kitchen, we just started manufacturing and making different concoctions, and then we both, even though we both have a lot of curl in our hair, it's slightly different. So when we actually came up with a blend of ingredients that actually worked, we were just like, okay, let's push it. And from that, we started doing a lot of vlogs on YouTube. We're quite known on the YouTube channels, and there was also a demand of, what do you use? What are you guys using? And we're just like, Mother Nature's nectar, I guess. And then it kind of evolved from there.
Okay. Yeah. So everyone has a different texture of curl.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
So not every product works for everybody.
Exactly. No.
You know, because I have very curly hair, and I mean, I'm a little bit older than you are. So going to the pharmacy and trying to find a product that was universal, that worked for my hair, was not happening. So I went through that frustration too, and trying to find something that worked for me. So you took it to the kitchen, and made your own batch. Like, where did you get this muse to be inspired to create your own stuff? Where did you get that kind of knowledge?
A lot of research. A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
So mixing of oils, what works, what doesn't work. She has a different texture than I do, so what can work for both of us? And just mixing them together, formulating different formulas and seeing what works for both of us.
And another thing too, we love YouTube. That's why we became so active.
I love YouTube too.
Isn't it awesome? Everything's on YouTube nowadays. But seriously, when we went on YouTube and we saw what a lot of these other girls were doing, that's how we also found out, okay, when we blend this herb and when we blend this special ingredient, we get a nice concoction for softness, or something that will help strengthen their hair.
So what are some of the ingredients that you use to like detangle or soften curly hair?
A really, really good ingredient is marshmallow root. It works great.
Marshmallow root?
Yeah, marshmallow root. You can find it at a health food store. You can even ingest it as well. It's really, really good for the digestion. And it works very well. It gives a lot of slip to the hair as well. And that makes detangling much, much easier for any hair, really.
Any hair texture?
Yeah, any hair type.
What about like growing hair? What if you have like hair that breaks easily? How can you restore it to make it stronger? What kind of product would you use in your hair, or natural ingredient?
Well, for the most part, I'll go first. For the most part, a lot of people underestimate natural ingredients. A really, really good ingredient for balding or anything like that is amla powder. Or I don't know if everybody's familiar with that, but that's an ingredient.
What's it called?
Fruit. Amla.
Amla?
Amla. A-M-L-A.
And where do you find amla?
Again, you can find it at you can find it again at a health food store. You can also find it at Indian markets. But it's very important that you look at the ingredients, because some of them have derivatives in there. So as long as it says 100% amla, then you're good to go.
And that's for balding or thinning hair?
Yeah, thinning. Another great thing that you can find in your kitchen is apple cider vinegar. It works great. You can do rinses with that, and it helps equal out the pH of the scalp. So it works.
As far as what's in our product, coconut oil is the new.
I love coconut oil.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing for softening and lubricating your hair. So it's in that product, as well as for thinning, castor oil.
Oh yeah.
So a little massaging of the scalp with some castor oil, and either coconut oil or your favorite oil will definitely help to lubricate your scalp as well as your hair, and add salve.
there's a movement happening now to wearing your hair natural. And how do you support women who want to do that? Because it's not something you can do right away. You really have to think about it because there's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
So when they come to you say, I want to go natural, what steps do you take?
We've actually started doing consultations and hair analysis for women who actually either want to transition or to bring their hair back to health. We go through a series of questions with them and ask them, what are their goals for their hair? And with that consultation, we tailor a regimen for them to bring them back to where they want to be with their hair. So either going natural or just bringing, the health back to the hair. That's what we've started.
And so you're like hair fitness trainers.
Yeah, kind of. Like
I would say yes.
Yeah, personal trainers for hair. But also too, if you suffer from temporary alopecia, we can assist with that too. It's basically what happens in the scalp is a bacteria that happens. Well, I don't want to say infection before people get scared, but basically what happens, the root starts thinning out. And it thins out to a point where there's no production of the hair. So sometimes it's temporary and sometimes it's permanent. It also depends on your lineage as well. However, if it's temporary, which can be caused by stress or if you're intaking any prescriptions that cause adverse effects, there are ways to help get that hair back to its health and to restore it as well.
Fantastic. Now, there's something sweet smelling right here. This is Mother Nature's nectar, conditioning oil. This is something you made.
Yeah. Yes.
And what am I smelling? It smells so sweet. What's in here?
There is a blend, as I mentioned, coconut oil. We have castor oil in there, shea butter. Just to name a few ingredients, we don't want to give away our secret potions. But and then, as Keisha had mentioned, we also added Indian herbs, so Ayurvedic herbs in there, and some fragrance.
Now, where can people go to a consultation or to learn more about what you do?
Well, all consultations right now are conducted in Brampton, Ontario, but you can definitely log on to www.afrolengths.com, and there we have set up bookings for consultations, which are completely free, and as well as you can book for your hair analysis as well.
All right. And where is that website? What is the website?
www.afrolengths.com.
All right. Well, I'm very proud of what you're doing. I know it takes a lot to be an entrepreneur, and I think you're doing a great service. And I can't wait to try this. Can I try this on my skin? Is it just restricted to hair?
And we have a model that we say it's more than just hair. So it's safe enough to use on the skin, and considering that the hair is made up of the same fibers of the skin, it will work the same way.
It'll work the same way.
It will work the same way.
Awesome. Thank you so much for
The Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. If you would like to be a guest or become a part of our live studio audience or even to become a sponsor, just go to www.NikkiClarkeNetwork.com.
All right, thank you. We are back now. Sitting with me is business mogul Sean Matthew Frederick. Welcome here. I like the way we're playing on the colors. You got a little bit of pink. You got a flex of pink in my outfit.
Thank you very much, Nikki.
You complimented each other. Just saying. So tell me a little bit about your background in finance. So you work with a bank, Bank of Montreal, I believe?
Well, actually, I started at the Bank of Montreal probably about 22 years ago. But I was a programmer, not really a teller. After 2 years, I thought to myself, I like the job, it's good, but I'm seeing myself 20 years from now, and I'm thinking, I don't really want to just cross the aisle of the cafeteria to go from the new employee side to the seasoned employee. So I left. I went to the bank. I went to IBM. I worked for IBM, computerizing a lot of companies, which I really liked. Then I started teaching college. I started teaching college about 20 years ago.
College?
Mohawk College in Hamilton.
Okay. Any Mohawk alumni here?
But my brother was a police officer, And he says, you know, Sean, we have to start investing in real estate. I'm like, I'm not investing in real estate because I committed so much of my time and effort to computers and, you know, teaching. And I says, no, you have to do it. So I started buying properties, borrowed against my home, bought 2, waited a couple of years, bought a 3rd, then a few more years. I flipped it. Well, actually, no, I actually bought and held. Okay. So I held them for a couple of years. 2 years later, I held the 3rd one. Then I started buying plazas. So I bought a plaza, 6 or 8 unit, which was good.
All right, so you say that you bought plazas. Were they in Toronto?
No, actually, I bought in Hamilton. Okay. I couldn't afford Toronto. So Hamilton, I was able to afford plazas in the $800,000 range. That same plaza in Toronto would have been about $2 million. So I had to start from somewhere. And after buying a number of properties, in the beginning it was about me. I bought these and it sort of caused me to think, hey, you know what, I'm here, I've reached. But you know what, I realized after a while that it's not about me, that buying real estate is about partners and joint venturing with people who are maybe too busy at their full-time jobs. And I was able to find the property, analyze it, negotiate it, put it together for them, and partner with them. So we'd be a 50-50 ownership. So at some point, people have to stop and realize you can only buy so much. You really have to share, get right partners, right people to be on your team. And that's what I did.
Now, how many people on your team right now? And what's your company name?
Well, my company's called Caribbean Capital. Okay. And so simply we raise money for investments. But as I'm raising money for investments, such as commercial buildings, we also develop in Alberta. At the same time, when I'm buying buildings, I invite people to buy with me as well. So I bring the expertise. Keep in mind that I've made a lot of mistakes. So I'm in a position to know what not to do. Not from genius, but from hard work, labor, and just knowing how to correct things that have gone wrong. So 40% of my time I spend just taking care of my portfolio. And a portfolio is just a series of properties that I have. And I don't property manage it, which means I'm not in there working on it. I asset manage it. I look over it. And because I do that well, there's a number of other people who are well-to-do investors who allow me to asset manage their properties for them also. And it's funny, I do that 40% of the time. Surprisingly, 60% of the time, I teach how to invest.
Okay, and that's at Mohawk College?
No, so I taught at Mohawk College computers and accounting, like I said, over 15, about 10 years ago, let's call it. And I left that to be a full-time investor. But the odd thing about the fact that I'm a teacher, even at Mohawk or even at teaching how to invest, is if you knew me through grade school or college, I would be voted the least likely person to actually speak and build wealth through speaking.
What did they think you were going to be in high school? What were you the voted person?
For me, I was very shy. So I spent all my lunch times in the library, reading encyclopedias, going through from Mozart to Motown. But my problem throughout my entire life, even today, is I stutter. So speaking is very complicated, very difficult for me. So I had to overcome the ability to speak. And I did so just by realizing one day that I don't stutter on every word. There's certain words that I stutter on. In fact, there's certain letters, words that begin with the letter W or H or T, and not, so if I were to say where, why, when, what, see, I can say that because it comes within a sentence. If I were to start a sentence with those words, I couldn't do it. So the funny thing is that I make most of my wealth speaking. It's a thing that was my largest, let's call it, obstacle. And by sitting down and taking my largest obstacle and actually working it, I mean, people used to beat me over the head with that stick that I couldn't speak. So I think everyone here has the exact same story. There's something that we all have that perhaps we think is something that, we can't overcome. Whether it's obvious or not obvious, whether it's something that people tell us about. Ultimately, I took it, went into the desert, worked with that stick, and I came back and I turned it into, let's say, a staff to rule over kings. When I say rule over kings, I mean the things that bother us in life. So again, speaking is, to me, amazing.
I think that's exciting. Thank you for sharing that. That's really inspiring for me. And you're also an author. You've written a book called The Real Canadian Investor.
Yes, back in 2007, because I was switching from residential more to commercial, I think sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to learn more, and by just writing that book. Now, it took me a month to write it, but it took me about 10 years to know what to write. So, about 10 years of effort, and I was able to write it in a month, and of course, another month for editing. But I wrote it to give myself permission to offload and then do something new. In other words, spend more time in commercial. It's a good book, and I'm glad I was able to share it with a lot of people.
Great, and where can people get a copy?
Well, actually, you know, I'm sold out of those. My book's sold out, but
great news.
What I've done, just really briefly, last December, I was sitting there writing my will, and you've heard it said that, you know, we can't take things with us, and that's bad.
True.
Well, I think that the true sadness about death is not what we can't take with us, it's what we can take with us. And we take our knowledge with us. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to design an interactive, automated system on the internet for people to be able to access. So instead of writing a book, it's now a training tool. It's called pushpast.ca, so push past your objective, push past whatever blocks you. And it's accessible. There's some free parts to it, but mostly it's about a coffee a day. But it allows me to give my years of real estate experience on the internet for people to access it if they want to learn.
Thank you. Sharing everything and everything that you're doing, and you're evolving into this, an amazing man. So thank you for
Thank you very much.
spending some time.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.